control. Oh wait, it is hurling through vastness, this dark abyss I call home. I just wanna feel something again. Anything will do to break my heart open tonight. Let me feel what it feels like to feel what it feels like to feel something again.
What's up? Checking the sounds. Hello, hello. What's up? Checking the sounds. What's up? Checking the sounds. Sound is good. Okay. Starting in a couple minutes. What's up? Good morning. Good morning. Starting in a minute. Cheers, whatever you may be drinking. We're good today. I restarted my computer. No weirdness. Everything works. Good start. The stream disconnected for a second. Hopefully that's a one-time thing there. Reconnection successful. Okay. Stream disconnected for a second. Good morning, good morning. We are live. Earl Grey, hot. Yes. Computer. Cheers. All right, let's go. Checking news for today. Thursday, February 4th, 2021. Thursday. It's Thursday already. All right, so today is all about the pound. News-wise. So in 4 hours from now is our first bit of the only real high-impact news for the day. It is the rate decision for the pound. Interest rate. So that is big. That is the biggest news of the day, and it is very big. So you'll have some craziness with the pound. In 4 hours. But, so keeping that in mind with whatever we're looking at with the pound going on there. A number of things can happen. Pre-positioning, uncertainty, going into it ahead of it that we could at least observe. But likely skip the pound for today. But you never know. I don't know. And then that's it. High impact news. Unemployment claims U.S. at the usual time. It's medium impact. We'll have some U.S. dollar stuff there. What's tomorrow? Anything? It's tomorrow not farm. It's not farm week. Oh yeah. Man, this week went quick. Just looking at yesterday. All right. To the charts. Where's my coffee? Unbalanced volume is what you're asking? Not something I ever used or found a use for. Lost signal? Let's see. Let me check the stream. Checking the stream. All right. Looks like we're still on. All right. So maybe that's a thing happening. Just when I was happy there were no technical issues, there's a new one. We're cutting out. All right, well, we'll see. I'll rely on the chat to let me know if there's any issues. I don't change anything session to session. I don't know. Let's see how the lag is today. You can live with it. All right, so let me get caught up. Let me get caught up. Is there anything else I can close here? Yeah, no. Okay. So obviously I wasn't here on Tuesday. Sorry for my unpredictable schedule. But it's some Tuesdays and Thursdays. At least I emailed you today. Hopefully you're on the list and you got the email. All right. Just getting things in order. Have another sip. No rush. Okay. How about those cryptos? Somebody's making money in here. Can I get a hallelujah? Somebody out there in the audience named John is making money off cryptos. Can I get a hallelujah? Somebody out there named Bob is making money off cryptos. Can I get a hallelujah? All right. It's worth noting, first of all, that the dollar is trending upwards against the yen. And the dollar is stronger than the yen. Sometimes there is, actually, it's been in a range the last couple of days. It's trying to go into new high ground. We'll see if that's successful or not. If so, then we just keep in mind that we have stronger U.S. dollar than yen, and those two often drive these first six main ones and others. Somebody named Phil is making money off cryptos. Hallelujah. Pay that bill. I know you got those bills, getting them paid. Stupid. Somebody has an electric bill that just got paid. Can I get a hallelujah? Sorry. I'm supposed to be serious. Oh my God. This guy's a joke. I think after last session, I couldn't ruin it any further. All right. So let me take in what's happening. So we may have strong U.S. dollar over the yen as an influence. Sometimes they're similar, sometimes they're this or that. But if you're trending down here, euro against the dollar is trending down. Pound is trending down. There was some pops of strength in there, but we're into new low ground on some low volume. And obviously it's a real breakout, not a fake breakout. So it's a real leg down. And the trend is down for the most part on those, at least off the past few days. This guy holding up pretty well, so it's a bit stronger. Huh? And you see some strength back there on Tuesday. Wouldn't be surprised if some of you went long Tuesday. I did not look. I haven't looked at the 5-minute. Let's see. And the yen pairs. All right, so the Australian dollar, I'm just getting a sense of what's strong, what's weak, first of all. Australian dollar strong, US dollar a bit strong. Euro and pound may be sort of neutral. We'll have to compare it to some more things. It's all relative, though. Hey, Pete, with regards to correlation, determining which pair is stronger, what time frame is looking at which? I'm looking at, when I say that, I'm looking at really the last couple of days and up to the moment. If it's in the middle of something, Could be really even something that's developed just recently where things sort of split off. But you see there, for example, that's easy to say, just off of this pattern here in the last couple of days with the strength and the up move on the Australian dollar pairs, and then comparing that, and that's versus the US dollar, right? And then comparing that to the pound versus the US and the euro versus the US. Obviously, the Australian dollar is stronger than the pound and the euro. And if you just go somewhere else, you'll see that. The euro falling against the Australian dollar. There it is there. Right, so that's just really talking about what are we in the middle of kind of right now. No, we didn't see any huge strength or anything to change the situation even. So that's what it is right there, right? And then we could go further and say, well, what's the euro and the pound, which I'm guessing maybe are kind of similar. Yeah, kind of rangy. They go up and down every day, up and down, up and down. So that kind of gets a sense of our environment, right? Pete, do you think the trending USD will have effect on the cryptos? I suppose it does. It seems like it comes and goes. You'll have certainly a correlation there. And then other times, crypto action is crypto action, and it's just going to do what it's going to do. But I don't think too much about that. As far as like the swing trading I'm doing on crypto, I don't really think about what the US dollar is doing. I know the correlation comes and goes. So, we're seeing new low ground really being accepted. Euro, it looks like Euro a bit stronger, right? Because we have a fake break pattern here from this low to this day, and then off of that low to the next day. Here we're having a fake break pattern again. Again, just taking in what's stronger or weaker. It looks like going forward, the Euro may be stronger than the pound. The pound is easily accepting lower prices. In any sort of slightly bullish environment, this would have seen more action up down here, some sort of bounce, some sort of green candle in here, right, on the 1 hour. It's just falling through the floor, right? So nobody's buying the pound right now. It's a real down move. It's not something I'm looking to buy. Nothing is suggesting that. If anything, it would be looking to sell this on weakness, right? For example, break test continuation. So the theme may be here, we don't really want to buy against the US dollar, but perhaps if for example, we get a lot of strength down here, something changes. But yeah, let's look at this low here. But this isn't a trend that I would really want to go against unless I see high volume demand at this point as far as buying. Even though it does pop up, if you look at it, it's really decreasing, right? Look at our activity down here. So if you may be noting this point as demand coming in, maybe I'm thinking of going long, right? We've actually been really, besides this kind of up move, really trending down. So going against that trend, this type of volume, right, compared to some of the points during the trend, weakness. So I would want a lot more volume. So whoever's buying down here, good for them. I think it's premature. There's not a consensus. There's not more demand than supply down here as far as really wanting us to reverse. So same conclusion. I would be looking for weakness to sell these guys. Now the Australian dollar, unlike the euro and the pound, a little more neutral, is on the strong side. So if we're talking about selling, this wouldn't really be the one that I'd be looking at. Now, if things turn bullish, my good friend Australian dollar is very kind with the setups. But today you see kind of the conflict where, the driving force on these guys is the US dollar strength driving them down. But then you have, strong Australian dollar paired with strong US dollar. So you don't really have an imbalance. You don't have a predictable outcome, right? You can have a sort of a medium, what's the word I'm looking for? Not really a bias on one. Neutral, thanks, that's the word. You get a neutral versus weak, and okay, then it's likely going up. You get strong versus weak, obviously it's more likely going right, so on. But Australian dollar, US, both on the strong side. Now if we look at the yen, again we talked about here, helping us understand what's going on. The dollar moving up against the yen, slightly. I mean, it's not really in a crazy trend. We'll see if this breaks out or not. But that would mean weaker yen. And as far as buying, right, so you have the Australian dollar that's on the strong side, and then yen, which is at least not as strong as the US dollar, so you may have a better long situation here. Right? Makes sense? See where the logic is. But this is still like preliminary. We'll get into the nitty-gritty of what's the best setup today and all that. But if you know my method, the basics, that is something very normal where you would see after such a move up, off of even strength, fake break down here, and continuing up with such momentum and not seeing weakness that you would want to stay bullish, right? So on. We can talk more about that. So would not want to be selling the Australian dollar. The other ones we can because of that strong US dollar. And looking for weakness on an up move so far in these two. If things turn bullish, okay, we have the Australian dollar back in play where we could do something with that. And maybe if that yen really wants to show some more weakness, which would come across as strength here, then we would have a good match to go long. All making sense, I hope, so far? Okay. The dollar and the yen usually drive things, right? As I say, 70, 80% of the time. And then you have your individual stories where you may have some neutral ones, some strong ones, some weak ones, and you start to match up and see what's making sense for a good imbalance. If the U.S. dollar tops out on weakness and suddenly reverse, all of a sudden the U.S. dollar is looking weak, and then we'd be looking at Australian U.S. to buy, right? Okay. What else? How's it going in the chat? Okay. That's good to start off talking about that stuff. That's really my first focus. So euro yen. Pound yen. Okay. So these are both, whether you want to call the euro and the pound weak, or the dollar and the yen relative to them strong, or the yen relative to them strong, doesn't even matter, right? The euro and the pound are both weaker than the yen. So again, it's a simple bearish environment here where we're seeing lower lows, lower highs into new low ground. Tells you about buyers and buy activity, right? It's not showing up. Same thing. So it's mainly bearish out here. Strong US dollar, strong yen, but also strong Australian dollar. And if things turn bullish, I'd be looking to buy that against something. That kind of summarizes it, right? Okay. Now we can just mark up levels, kind of know what we're doing. G'day. That's some crypto action, baby. Hallelujah. Somebody named Roger out there is making money paying bills off cryptos. Hallelujah. I'm going to be a trade evangelist. Can I do that? Is that a thing? Believe in whatever God you want, but let's make some money. Stupid. Hallelujah. All right. I think I found a new career. All right, let's see. So now we may have to redraw a fib that's based on this low, because if it goes lower, then we have to redraw it. But if we can pop up. So again, we're talking about looking for short positions here. Weakness on up moves. The only thing that would change that is some overwhelming demand into lower prices. If you look at the demand here, really compared to previous days, it's not much, and it's certainly not enough to want to go long. Yes, buyers show up, but that's just how it goes. There are stronger trends where they wouldn't show up. It'd be really, really a strong downtrend. And in those cases, a lot of times I wouldn't even expect a retracement, and I would be a little more aggressive going short, right? But we do have some demand here. It's not a runaway crazy trend. And we could get easily a pop-up and a fib retracement. And that pop-up, not showing much demand, again, maybe even less ideally, and then weakness on an up move. I mean, that's the way it's doing it, right? It's zigzagging its way down. So again, there. If it goes a little lower first, you end up with maybe some sort of break test, fib, confluence, or something going on, whatever. So we'll see if we get the retracement. But the basic spots in a downtrend, simply put, most typically at the fib and a previous swing point through the area up to the 6-minute overshoot. Dr. Crypto, I'm not a doctor. That's creepy. Pastor Pete. Okay. Now, I didn't, I'll be thorough here. I'll take my time. We know what we're doing, right? Okay. If you're just joining us, dollar and the yen are driving things, and they're basically bullish, more so the US dollar. So we'd want to be selling against them, except the Australian dollar pairs, because the Australian dollar is strong, and I do not want to be selling that. So we have euro dollar, pound dollar, euro yen, pound yen, and whatever else we may want to look at. But I typically stick to those. All right, that's our fib for now, unless we go lower. Let's see, where are we, right? Aha. Hey, that looks familiar. Basically, more or less, the ABC pattern. Just out of curiosity, not that I live by this or anything. ABC retracement, though, right? But out of curiosity, I want to see the symmetry and what that points to. 618 overshoot. 618. I'm not saying I would have to wait for that to buy, but keep that in mind. It's right on the 618. So it doesn't have to do that. But it's a thing. It might. But we already know that level anyway. 618, 618 overshoot. And of course, just in this zone would be, well, of course, all areas to, where you could possibly get the reversal. And like I said, from a 1 hour point of view, I'd want to see volume pop up there. Something on the higher side, right? Higher than yesterday. Yesterday was a slow day. So we'd need some higher volume than yesterday, we'll say at least, at the very least, and consider buying. Well, of course, the higher the better. And it may happen all on the pound news or who knows what. But knowing that this is here, right? And they really had limited buying here, then they're probably all here, right? A whole bunch of buyers right there. So we make it there off of up move weakness, get our leg down, and then maybe get the climactic stuff and go long off this area. Or just keep shorting on weakness or holding shorts. And if demand doesn't show up, that's a big fib. So that's a whole other deal down there. I don't expect that today. But 50 is right there and important. Okay. Coffee is great. Yes. Have I ever mentioned that? All right. My gosh. Well, the pound has this big interest rate coming, and it's just tanking. Sometimes before big news like that, there is real uncertainty, and things kind of freak out and then figure out what they want to do after. Other times you have clear pre-positioning. You kind of expect something to happen as a result. So the charts tell you, is this a sell-off because of this reason or that reason? Whatever. But right now they are selling going into news. We could end up with huge buying off the low and then move up on news, we would expect. Or again, if we can stick with the lack of demand, we're staying bearish and hopefully get some weakness in a short. I would short trade the pound, just not close to news. Would want to, maybe an hour before, I would not look to enter anymore. Because it's such high impact news for the pound today. But meanwhile, just to do the analysis, there's a break test of the support. Fib, if it goes lower, we have to redraw, but there's the swing point. If it goes a little lower, you end up with some confluence on that. Instead of having to do a fake breakout to get to fib. But of course, you have the old support, turn resistance, and the fib, and whatever larger stuff, which I'm not really worried about right now. Okay. again, the odd matchup here where the Australian dollar is strong, really on the stronger side, but also the US dollar is strong. Obviously a bit stronger on the Australian dollar over the US dollar. But again, they're both on the strong side, so we don't have a good imbalance. If the US dollar reverses and becomes weak, then this is very bullish, right? And that you would see. You would see on the dollar pairs, you would see the dollar effect, reversing. So, as of now, not touching it. Not a good matchup. And that really goes for this too, Australian yen. But that could, again, easily change if, let's say, again, these guys show some large strength off of these down moves to stop it, right? Highest in a day or 2, 3 of strength coming in, right? And this would coincide probably into a fib retracement or whatever, show some strength. But then, you're knowing that the US dollar is weak, right? Things are looking bullish against the US dollar. And again, I would be looking at this. And that goes for the AJ as well. So unless that happens moving along, this guy, again, it's a really clear that it's a downtrend and looking to sell on the retracements. And there has been a bit of demand, but not enough where I'd want to be buying. And I would be looking for a weakness on down moves. A ton of demand could come in and change things into lower prices, right? So we may find out some stuff if we get down there. So I'm kind of just going to do this for the moment because it's going to be so revealing and telling about which way it's going to go. So we'll see what goes on in there. That's the kind of spot where if things are going to turn bullish, it can happen here, right? On a fake break, double bottom. And if it's going to break through and not show much demand, that confirms bearishness going forward. And you're still looking to sell on weakness and looking to sell maybe to support, whatever, right? So it's an important spot to find out. So we'll mark it like that for the moment. Yeah, it's 618 overshoot area. That's right? That's going to determine the future and what happens after that. So maybe we can get there soon. All right, we're almost done with the hard part. Not so hard. Again, here, obviously, and especially that weak pound. Look out for news, but it is bearish. Break test level. Last swing point fib, unless you want to call that a swing point, I don't know. That steps together there. I like to draw the last swing point or the whole thing, so I don't want to be just picking whatever and draw a million fibs. This one I think is okay. We'll see how it reacts. If it ignores your fib, nothing happens volume-wise. It just kind of acts like it's not there. All right, maybe it's the wrong fib. Okay. Also here, just to note, similar with the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, US, strength, look at the result. It's very strong. And look at this low fake break pattern and buying down here. Resistance turns support, fake break, buying, right, and back to the high, and not much weakness. They're holding longs on this, right, from here. Long positions from here and long positions from here. And look at that up move. Very clean over here. I really kind of want things to turn bullish, right? Because we're at good low prices. Let's get a uniform, weak US dollar, weak yen situation, and then we can buy whatever. And this looks very good. Not that I trade it very much, but if it's textbook, I'll trade it. This area saw a lot of weakness, price area, this time around. But here, very, very different. And there's all the buying. And a lot of buying high up, right? That's not even a fib. It's up here. So if we dip down here, right, it's likely a very good buy. Ideally, it's, not just based on the New Zealand dollar being strong, but also have the US dollar getting weak, ideally. It doesn't mean you have to wait for that price to go long either. If it was kind of a better situation where I was looking to buy against the US dollar, I would maybe do something in here. I will say, if it breaks through here, right, it's a very bullish environment here. Yeah, the dollar is a bit on the strong side, but New Zealand dollar is very strong. So it's not ideal, but is it going to let me draw? What happened? Where's my thing? If it gets through here, basically on low supply, right? The lower the volume, the better. Into this new high ground over that line. The more chance that it's going to continue up. You have a little fib area in here to get through. And back to the high. But if you draw a fib there, so again, if it gets through here into this price area, the lower the better on volume, then it's likely going very quickly to here. And if there's no issue with weakness coming in, you're continuing to the top. Test here for sellers. So it's if the US dollar wants to be weak, these things could get a bit better. All right. Let's see what happens there. Back to the chat. Steve, what's up? Internal gardener. Would volume off of high impact news be considered given that you don't consider London Open volume? Oh, that sort of thing. Yeah, you have to know that it's exaggerated, but it's not London Open where it's completely untrustworthy. There's a story that plays out. It's mid-session, it's news, and, it's not just the new prices that come in as things start to move, but the reaction to those new prices. It's a bit exaggerated on volume, but at the same time, it's all legitimate, and it could create a new background. That high volume is your new background to work off of and stuff. So it's fine and legitimate in that way. Trends very often change on high impact news. They climax out in reverse. And that's fine. We take that volume seriously. Yeah, it's going to be exaggerated. But once things settle, look at the situation. It's fine. I think that's what you were asking, right? On Eurodollar on Tuesday, the 5-minute didn't agree with the 1-hour strength. 5-minute didn't agree. Since it doesn't agree, would we consider that 1-hour candle? Well, we're staying bearish on the euro anyway. And I don't think I even looked at the 5-minute, but I had enough information to conclude it was bearish. So I'm not surprised. The details show that it's not proper strength coming in. The bit of volume that did show up in the 1 hour, which really wasn't that high. Since it doesn't agree, we still consider that 1-hour candle as showing strength. Well, no, it's one storyline. It's one stream of price data that you're organizing into a 5-minute, a 1 hour, a 4 hour, right? What does it tell you? 1 hour is just an overview. 5-minute gives you detail. And that's why we checked 5-minute. 1 hour can be very deceptive. It's not just the open spread and close and volume. What happened within that whole range that 1 hour covered, and it could be surprising once you go to the 5 minute. It could be the opposite of what it looks like once you get more detailed information at what went on at different prices. So, of course, you would believe that, right? It's the same price feed. You're just organizing it in a different way. No demand. No supply. Okay, you happy? Yeah, he did it. How would you add a position if you suddenly sold off when high volume appears, but then see that the high volume is not sustained and price continues up or you're above 100 EMA? Oh, crypto. Yes, I missed the first word. Right. What? How would you... Let me read it again. Slow down. Dennis making money awkward. How would you add to a position if you suddenly sold off? I already have a problem. If I just sold off, I'm not in a price area that I really could be buying, right? So you can't, there's no gotcha. Can't gotcha me on my own thing. Right? If you're selling off, you're not in a price area where you're allowed really to buy. How would you add to a position? I'll read the question. So the answer is you don't. How would you add to a position that you suddenly sold off when high volume appeared, but then see that the high volume is not sustained and price continues up? So fear of missing out, FOMO or something. You made your decision. You got to live with it. That's what I do. If you see weakness, you sell some off, and then price starts continuing up, and you're just not seeing weakness. That's your choice if you want to buy high, right? I do not do that. I live with my profit-taking decisions. It'll come back to me. If I sold off a lot and I'm down to 20% in my account in cryptos and 80% in cash, and the price is just up in the clouds, it'll come back. Yeah. Now, if you want to break that rule, for me it's a rule. That would be your thing to do. Okay, good. You're gonna regret it. I think more times than not. And of course, you're asking my methods about it. You're going to regret it more times than not. Buying high, chasing trends, as well as I don't want to use that word. Wussing out, as well as wussing out, and selling on down moves and seeing price go down, and after a whole leg down that lasted, a day, you suddenly realize you're not comfortable with this drawdown and you sell off some down low. That's also just no. That's a no. Never in the history of a crypto chart is that a good idea. Now, having said that, though, I will say this. If there's an extreme down move, let's say we're trending up, it's all good, or we're going sideways, whatever, right? We're not down, we're not going down, and suddenly there's a down move, and it's really extreme. It's a really big 4-hour candle, or it's really fast, and it's a huge, move or something. I can trim down my position. That's fine. I don't have to sell all the time into new high prices or something like that. If it looks like the shit's going to hit the fan, something's going on, I'm going to say, okay, as I say, what percentage of my account is in crypto, and am I comfortable with that percentage based on what the chart is saying right now? And that could change on one candle. Oh, wow, what's that? I don't like that. Let me trim this down, You're still relatively high up, most likely, because we're talking about not coming off of down moves. We're talking about in a sideways or in an up move, right? If you're in down moves, okay, fine. You're waiting for lower prices. You're accumulating lower. You're in a different mode, and you wait for things to settle and all that. So for the crypto people, hopefully that's helpful. Yeah, of course, not entirely. Yeah. Like today, for example, I'll tell you exactly what I did today. Sorry if you're here for the Forex and not the crypto. We're talking about both. Keep an eye on the charts. But what I did today was nice. I would think everyone trading cryptos, trading my method, saw a new high in their account today. Even though most charts didn't go into new high ground. Some did. What was it? Litecoin or Ethereum? One of them did. But Bitcoin didn't go into new high ground, right? But it was an up move off of accumulation that we've been looking at for a while. You guys know. The double bottom, the fake break, the triple bottom, whatever happened back there. Finally, that move happened. We kind of knew it was coming. So I'm taking, bits of profit based on how much weakness I'm seeing. I'm not closing off much. Again, it's the no regrets approach. What am I comfortable with if everything just suddenly drops now? Knowing the profit that I'm looking at right now. Okay, I'll sell some off, see how it goes. And I do check the 5-minute now and then. Don't check the 5-minute. How much weakness is coming in? What should I do? Maybe the 5-minute is floating up into new high ground on low volume. Okay, let's leave it. So I was doing my normal thing, and then there was a very strong down move that happened. Maybe my time, maybe, I don't know, 9, 10 o'clock at night. I could be, I don't know, like 5 hours ago. Suddenly, give or take, the cryptos really just dropped. Like, what's happening? Everybody's taking profit now. And I closed some more because of that. And that wasn't as, it's going into new high ground and that's the only time you can close. That freaked me out a little bit as far as what am I comfortable with? Let me look at my percentage again. All right, that's a little too much. Let me sell off a bit more because of what I just saw. But I'm still generally high. I'm still way above the 100 EMA. It's all up there kind of stuff. Right? Okay, so maybe that helps. Very helpful? Okay, good. I'm only a few years into the crypto thing, and I still feel like, I don't know, just in the last, whatever it is, 6 months, whatever, I found even a better groove, the way I like to deal with things. So I'm happy to share. I've seen every situation now, the meltdowns and everything. So what's up in the Forex right now? Strong US dollar, strong Australian dollar, strong New Zealand dollar. Euro is weak against the strong US dollar. Pound is weak and weak on its own. Just weak. Weak against everything, right? This must be tanking. Pound versus Australian dollar? There it goes. So very high impact news for the pound today. I'm not dying to get into a pound short, but if it sets up, I would, knowing the news is coming and whatever risk I'd be okay with. But generally I'm looking for weakness on up moves to sell. And if you just notice the obvious, we're zigzagging our way down, and we have not seen much strength at all. So selling on weakness on up moves. Every day kind of has its one up move, right? And there's one, whatever it is, little fake break pattern there, right? One up move, an up move. So it's behaving very clean, like a trend, more or less. And there's no reason to not do that. Continue doing that. Especially getting this close to fib without too much strength, it's likely going to get there. Let's see if we can get a pop up in weakness and then get there. So look, that's the main style of trading that I do. So if we're trending down and there's not much demand, of course, weakness in particular areas, ideally. Now there's also scalp entries, which I don't really like doing early in the session. Let things figure themselves out a little bit. Just start chasing the first move kind of thing. I don't like doing that. So up moves and weakness for the traditional setups. Maybe at some point I could be convinced to do something more aggressive and sell lower than that. A smaller 5-minute sort of retracement and a lot of weakness, without much demand. Something more aggressive is possible. Of course, these guys are way too bullish for me to be talking about selling them. If things turn bullish, if something convincing happens here on a pullback, buy opportunity, that's fine. And that would go for the NU as well. Just happens to be strong. So there are the rebel pairs, right? The Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, maybe some others. I didn't check them all. So you'd have to say that I guess the strength of the dollar and the yen really isn't that extreme. And, they could easily go off on their own like these guys are. But possibly some textbook setups. Shorting these guys on up moves. Buying them on climactic strength. Buying these guys on a down move. Or, of course, selling on climactic weakness. That would take a lot of weakness to convince me to sell the Australian dollar, right? And then, again, euro. Pound yen. Bearish. Yen is also weak. On the weak side. Not terribly. But again, here, this closes in 8 minutes. Not much volume. It's a way new low ground. No reason to think this is going to give any sort of long entry here, right? Let's see if we can get... Again, it happens every day, pretty much. The up move. Selling the up moves. And with less demand, the better for the next one. And this guy, EJ, is really the same, but the pound is a bit weaker and further along, and this support will be very telling, so we'll see what goes on there. If things are going to reverse, they often do in these types of spots. I don't know what the yen is running into. Did we check? Pound yen. Where am I drawing a fib here? Try to pick the most obvious. Yeah. Oh, 618 overshoot. Okay. All right. There's the 618 overshoot spot at London Open, literally at the Open. It hit the 618 overshoot. So, yeah, high volume no matter what that time of day. That's not very helpful. But don't be misled that this is just strength showing up in our 618 spot. It's London Open volume. So it's going to be high no matter what. If we can come down again, then we get to see for real, right? Okay, so that's where we are. No pressure, hanging out. Something sets up, I'll take it, I'll let you know. What's up in the chat? Jonathan, what's up? You sold some too from the Valley crypto? Okay. STFX XF. Hello. Dennis. Very helpful. Okay, good. Thanks for... All right. Very good. Got some music. Roll a doobie. Trade evangelist. Yes, of course. Everything has its bit of differences, but Of course, yes. All the basics are the same. The phases, the fib stuff, the fake breaks, the high volume at this price, if this area means this, the low volume means that. Yes, all the same, all the same. Yes, you can. Yes, we can. And you probably want to maybe take a. I mean, I don't day trade stocks or swing trade stocks even. As far as like the way I do cryptos or Forex. So you might want to, I mean, it's, it's maybe longer term and more like the crypto method, I would think. That's the best way to go about it if you want to trade it like that. I will be getting much more into stocks when generally things come down in the markets. Surprise, surprise, I'm not buying at the top. I'm not buying up here. But you've seen a few cycles. You eventually learn your lesson. When the shit hits the fan and the markets tank and everybody's panicking, that's when I'll start buying. Obviously, right? Buy a whole bunch of stocks. But that's for a really long term. That's what we're talking about, holding for a few years, or trying to catch a bull cycle after a recession, or and accumulating to lower prices, and then having it play out for 4 years, 8 years, whatever. That's a whole other thing. But if you're talking about, it's similar to cryptos, would likely. How long is your average holding time in Forex? Oh, that's day trading. I'm usually out by the end of the day. Typically, I have multiple take profit points, so it's a matter of managing the trade as the day goes on. I could end up out of the trade in 30 minutes or in 6 hours. So yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah, GameStop. A course on stocks? Oh gosh. Well, after the next recession, when I start buying up, I'll make a course on how I did it. I don't know. Nah, that's not in the future right now. I'm not interested in that at the moment. You start to learn when markets are down. That's when it piques your interest. And when they're up like that, so inflated, it's like no, we wouldn't even think about it. As far as any longer term, of course, you can day trade the mini futures and all that stuff. So, euro dollar, pound dollar, looking to sell on up moves, not chasing the first move of the session. Usually ends up a good decision. So there's that. And we're still good on that. Up moves in weakness or buying off climactic strength. Which, if it's going to happen, could happen on the pound news. That tends to shake everything up and can create potentially a new background, a new situation on extremely high volume. That's in a few hours. Australian dollar very strong. Again, just not chasing it. Starting to see a theme here. I don't chase, I don't buy high. One thing about these charts, if you notice here, goes up and down. After it goes down, it usually goes up. It's not one direction. It's both. I know I say that way too much, but I feel like there's no fear of missing out on up moves, and there's no fear of everything going down forever and going to zero. Neither of those things are going to happen. All right. Some of them have decent retracements right now. Oh, yeah. Besides the stocks in the news right now. Yeah. King of the Ocean Facts. Yes. All right. So everybody knows what we're doing. No pressure to take a trade. I always kind of put pressure like, oh, I'm trying to find a trade. Yeah, whatever, right? If it shows up, it shows up. The main thing is learning. And then you can do it yourself. Well, here's that important spot on the euro. Let's understand what happens here. This is a test for buyers area. Whatever goes on here, volume-wise, is really going to basically think of it as representing buy activity. If it's high volume, it's likely to bounce. If it's extremely high volume, it's likely to reverse the bearish environment. If it's very high volume, we've been seeing some lower volume last couple of days, so it really has the potential to pop up. Of course, nothing's suggesting that yet. It's too early, but it just tends to happen at these spots. And we'll get some increase in activity no matter what here. But after these initial buyers that are likely just going to show up here because it's at this price where demand tends to kick up, take profit on shorts, some initial aggressive buying at support, right? So that's going to go on initially. But then from there, what's the result and what does it tell us? Our buyer's going to accumulate. Our seller's going to be showing up strong on the test for supply and then push it down to continue, right? So we can follow the story there. That's something to learn from. And in this environment, we're going to stick to bearish. Obviously, you can live with a 5-minute spike because it's just going to happen at these kind of levels. But going forward, if it's really, going to die out going from there, and lower prices even come in a little after, and there's really not much strength on it. But even so, just a 5-minute candle spike showing strength here, I would still be looking to short. Just not down here, obviously, shorting on an up move as planned, as usual in a downtrend. So we really get the answer. Do we want to keep shorting? Now, if it just breaks, and there's not much demand coming in lower prices, and it breaks, I don't chase breakouts. So from that point, this would be really, selling low. As far as the traditional entry, there's the scalp entry, but the traditional entry would be not to chase the breakout. But if we do see a successful breakout, and there's no huge volume demand coming in, then we stay bearish, which means selling on up moves, right? Selling on weakness. And maybe down to support is very likely after you break these areas, you go to support or close to it. So we'll see what it tells us. So yeah, the buyers show up. Look at the 1 minute because it's about price areas, not time frames. Same information. And there's the touch of that level and the strength. Again, these obvious levels, they're going to show up to some extent, typically, the demand. But you can see now, as we go forward, we'll follow how to understand what's going on. First thing is the result of this. If we're able to close lower, close down, or even worse, close into lower ground, worse, I don't know, more bearish, closing down, or even more bearish, closing into new low ground, and seeing volume decrease now, then we can get the sense that whoever was willing to buy in this area, which is going to be some people, some traders, right, is that spot, has done so. And now we can kind of float through on lower volume. They're not accumulating through here. And that would show up as another pop the second time. And it's not just one time, okay, demand comes in. There's accumulation over time, right? So there's different scenarios, different things that come out of this. It's good to look at an important spot and then get the answer as it plays out. And they'll be testing if we go up there. But this will tell us about sellers here. This will tell us about buyers here. Probably a good thing to observe for learning purposes. But like I said, if that's a decent start with a 5-minute spike, but if I'm going long while things are trending down, I need something on a 1-hour chart to show me, yeah, there's enough buy activity from an overview point of view that things have really switched directions, and positions that are coming in long really add up to something when you look at it. And again, that could be on the pound news. It could finally drop lower and see that or whatever, right? Okay. That's a lot of what ifs, but I think that's helpful. When things start to play out, it's going to be one of these things, And if there's a bit of demand showing up, which there certainly is now, finally, to some of these really bearish environments, then good. That's could be the start of the retracement that we're looking to sell into, right? So, as much as I'm bearish, I like buyers coming in at some point here to, again, it's not from a 1-hour point of view, some large volume we suddenly want to buy, but some demand down here to push it up, right? And then, of course, supply at our proper areas. But we need buyers so then we can hit sellers and then we can go down. Now, again, sometimes you get these environments where the volume is so low. This is certainly not one of those environments. The volume in a bearish environment, the volume is so low into lower prices and lack of strength that you wouldn't even expect a fib retracement. And you can actually, look at the sell off of the 14 EMA tests, the little fib retracement stuff. But this is not obviously one of those cases where the demand is just so lacking that we wouldn't expect to pop up. It's likely to give us a pop up today, if it, not just go in a straight line. As much as it looks like it, fear of missing out. Oh, I got to sell. Absolutely horrible time to sell, right? If you look to your left, what happens after these big down moves? Oh, it goes back up. 2 directions. Right. All right. I'm going to rest my voice for a second. Let things develop a bit, and then we'll see what's going on.
I still read the letters you wrote to me now and then.
So back in a few minutes. Don't nobody go nowhere.
Can you pardon me for I've sinned? I'll remain this way till the end. Suffering in this pit I have chosen to call my home.
All right, I'm here, keeping an eye on things. Again, for the most part, looking to sell on up moves and weakness, or buy on climactic, very high volume strength. If we just continue down and see that. Australian dollar aside, that's too weak. I mean, that's too strong to be selling, but if things turn bullish, that's a possibility. AUAJ. Big pound news today.
Something very strange makes a girl this way. Something in the blood. Science can't explain how a girl in so much pain can do the things she does. Turning clockwise, counterclockwise, turning inside, turning upside out. She's not an ordinary girl. Any ordinary girl would break under this weight. She's not an ordinary girl. Any ordinary girl would break, but she bears the weight of the world, falling on the rain, rising from the grave, squeezing from the stone. No one can explain how she does these things through will and will alone. Turning clockwise, counterclockwise, turning inside, turning upside out. She's not an ordinary girl. Any ordinary girl would break.
I was talking about the EJ, as I was saying. Important spot here, right? And we saw initially some strength, which is predictable at that spot. And see what happens going forward. Now, one of the options, like I said, was to close down, not into new low ground, but close down as a result of the high volume demand came in here, right? Nothing's going to change that. That happens later. If we close lower, doesn't mean that there wasn't demand. But we're looking at the result in the understanding that that if we close lower and we're going to accept lower prices as a result, that we're not really seeing consistent buyers attracted at this price level, right? And the lower we go, the more it reveals if buyers are really interested or not, right? Now it could pop down and do a fake break and we get some buy volume there and we say, okay, they are buying. But for the moment, that initial pop and now we're just kind of floating down, volume starting to decrease. So that's really a wait and see, as I say. If it closed down, we're on decreased volume, we're really saying, okay, it's likely to break out. If it closed up as a result, started testing, all right, we test. We don't get a lot of supply, we're likely moving up. This is a wait and see, still leaning bearish, really not confirming, right? That's how I categorize those three outcomes, right? Up, sideways, or down. So this is a wait and see. Certainly not going to give you confidence to buy or sell. So let's see what we get. Now this is just sort of an isolated 5-minute example for learning purposes. We're in a bearish environment where I'd rather be looking to sell on up moves. But we have different scenarios. We'll see what happens. And of course, that's just a very big, obvious support there. And also yesterday's volume, the big stuff occurred in this area. Let's see what that looks like yesterday. Because we were here already, right? What happened? Initially demand again down here, like I'm talking about, right? If you come back down, that did show buying. And here still some pretty higher, much higher volume here. Supply low, right? So we had more buying. Obviously, it became a support. So we had more buying than selling down here. But again, that's why background matters, right? We're in a downtrend. So that buying could be just enough to give you a retracement and continue, right? And maybe look to sell there. But going with the background, it depends how much you like this volume. It's not so great. Going against the downtrend. But again, with more demand than supply showing up there yesterday, maybe this will be a climactic low here. Maybe not. So either way, it's good for learning purposes. This is going to kind of set the direction going forward when you have such really support and fib areas. And could set things going forward for hours to come, whatever the result is here. That's why we are so interested. Do you take risk off on environment in consideration when you trade yen? When I trade yen pairs, no. I mean, my only concern, it's day trading, so I don't really think of risk on off environment from day to day, but I guess you could. But it's really, ideally if I'm looking to trade a yen pair, it's just an imbalance where, in the short term for the day trade, if the yen is strong and then I could find something that's weak, it tends to be, if I'm buying against it, I want it to be weak. If I'm selling against it, I want it to be strong. That's all I'm really thinking about with the yen. But it does drive a lot of trades. The yen and the US dollar drives the trades, and then kind of seeing what works best against them, what sets up best against what they're doing, or to kind of use it in your favor, you know what I'm saying? But today is very strong Australian dollar, for example. So if the yen is appearing weak, then that's something to consider buying. That's really the way I use it. And maybe that kind of is the same thing with different name. I don't know. Different term. So what this is telling us now, we got to look at the 1 minute because it's about price areas, not time frames. Oh, buyers are gone. Bye-bye. Bye-bye support, right? Very likely now to break to the downside. So this one really gives it away here, right? So initially there was demand. I said it before it happened. It's likely to show up just because of the nature of levels like this. We're going to get some volume. Is it going to turn into an accumulation spot? So far, no. Second time down here, they are not buying. So that initial stuff is predictable, but this gives it away. It's likely moving down. And in a bearish environment during a downtrend, with low volume into low ground areas, you're likely that's likely going to do another leg down now. So you see how you can gather the information there. Now, as far as selling this low and chasing breakouts, I don't do that, but you could. And once it clears it, I can look for a scalp trade. I could look for a break test continuation pattern, a little fib that might end up in there or whatever, right? Still looking for weakness. Because again, no matter how bearish, you're still going to get your up moves pretty much every day. So sell high, buy low. Don't chase. If you notice the breakout trades, I don't know, yesterday's breakout trade, right? We're in a downtrend, right? You sell here. There's your breakout. Well, that didn't work out too good, right? So I don't have to go far back to show you why, right? I'm not going to sell here. Yeah, those fake breakouts. Chasing trends, right? This is noobs went short here yesterday. And then they think it's a conspiracy against them. As soon as I got in, it reversed. It was a breakout. It was a downtrend. What happened? It's a new move. Now, if it bounces, it bounces. Good. I'm looking to sell. But it still doesn't erase what happened, right? This gives me confidence to sell. If it sets up, that's the kind of thing you want to see, right? Yeah, they hit the first time. That's expected. This says they're not accumulating at all here. And if we float up as sort of a non-event, it's because sellers, they're like me. They want to sell into up moves and weakness, right? They don't want to chase breakouts either. So we can sort of float up on low volume, right? Hit some supply, and that's the pre-positioning for the next leg down. Selling into an area that is really no threat as far as demand. It's likely to actually break. So, but a big difference. This is a good lesson, I think. Big difference here if we bounce. It's not because demand just became overwhelming. It's because there's more buying than selling, and it should be really on low volume, and sellers are likely to come up and show up on an up move and then just run through that area now. What else? Yeah, things are running off without me, and that's fine. I don't chase the first move of the session. I don't chase breakouts. You all know this. Pound. And of course, we have the big news, so it's all riskier today on the pound. It's just one of those days. Interest rates every now and then. But putting that aside, yeah, there's some demand down here showing up. And that's now leading to this result rather than, see, again, this is kind of wait and see, right? If we tested lower, we would have talked about that, what happened. Okay, now we're getting the answer. So that bullish reaction is there. So not only buying came in here, and that's why this sort of regular size candle has so much volume. Of course, some buying into new low ground. But now we have a result here, a little bit, touch of markup style buying, right? So, again, news aside, which I would just probably take a much lower risk if there was a clean setup to short the pound, or just take a low risk before news. But hopefully that pops it up for that short, which is, oh, it came together pretty good with the 50 fib. I marked it 3 times. That's how much I want it. But this was really talking about possibly the 618 overshoot and all that. But that creates a fake break. We come back into our old range. This is nice where this is a 50 fib and previous support to resistance. And looking to short there. Yes. Very good. That's a very important level, right? That's kind of like the EJ. It's very important here. If sellers are still looking to do this thing, right? This up move and sell into it. That is their spot today, right? No, there's other spots, but that is the spot. That's the big activity selling. If we can hit that and see that happen. Again, if we bounce off low volume off the low, that's what we want to see. And we look at the 5-minute down here just to get some perspective. Nothing huge, no issue of huge demand. All right, we're all feeling focused and informed. Yeah, I draw fibs on the 5-minute sometimes, yeah. And I just use that, 652, 618 area as a zone, as you see. I don't use the other ones. But, yeah. It's actually hard to overdo fibs as the way I use it as a zone, as long as you're drawing them on clean swings. You're not just picking some random spot in in a leg of a trend to just kind of fit it where you want it. But if it's a clean two swing points that are obvious and there, you can draw the fib all day, and it's all good information. It's fractal fibs within fibs within fibs within fibs. Okay. Aren't you glad you didn't chase the down move? The noob move. You better not. Chase the first move of the session, sell low, chase breakouts. No, right? Nobody did that, right? I know certain people didn't do it. I don't know about everybody. But maybe we all do okay if we pop up just a little more and we get weakness, and then I'll get into a short perhaps. And then we just have a short party. But we'll see. If the pound sets up, and that's the only one, that would be interesting with this extremely high impact news coming. That means that normal activity is happening and they don't care. They're not fearful. They actually expect a result if they're going to be pre-positioning and doing this and that like it's normal. They could be just thrown around by the dollar and the yen movements, but we'll see what the pound is looking like. I'll just go lower risk. But meanwhile, other ones may, of course, have their up move. A lot of pound shorts in the market, and maybe they just want to get out of a lot of them before the news. It's also a logical thing, which would bring up moves. Closing of short positions on the pound going into news off a strong downtrend. Yeah, probably going to be some of that, right? Interest rate decision. What are we doing with this euro? So those fibs are done deal, right? Let's see. Well, we have break test, of course. Update the fib. That's supposed to just be over the wicks. Kind of small. Yeah. Of course, that still applies, but may not be getting there today. So again, bearish. Maybe we get some demand coming in that could pop us up. Again, look to short the up moves. Again, here is get to the fib area where we can see some large buying, and maybe things turn around and we look for a long entry. So up or down, we may have an opportunity. Where are the cryptos right now? Today was good, right? Today was nice. Or yesterday now, Wednesday. Still feels like cheating. Oh, moving down. Okay. Buy opportunities. Yeah, you see how volume just dropped off on that EJ after the initial buyers. But sellers are not pushing the brake, and buyers are not accumulating. So we're just sitting there on low volume until somebody does something. Probably even some profit taking, bring it up. But again, could go either way. So let's see if it goes up for the short or it wants to continue to break down, go down and break from lack of demand. Not a spot to jump in. Where was I? Cryptos. Oh gosh, my computer's going to get laggy. I know you can't see it, but I'm just taking a quick look at the cryptos. Bitcoin is double top fake breaking over 29th high, but not much sell volume. Ethereum, nice day today for that. Link, that did a fake break on weakness. If you look at the 4 hour, you had time up there to see that one coming. They pulled back, right? You had a good day, and they pulled back off of obvious areas, right? Bitcoin pulled back. Technically, it's a fake break right off of the recent high on the 29th. If you're looking at 4 hour cryptos. Litecoin was kind of a random spot, but it would coincide with everything else. And that showed weakness, the 4 hour, a bit. So you had some warning. But Link did that fake break into new high ground. So it looks like maybe a bit of a retracement, hopefully, to buy more. If it wants to maybe just jump up and continue, that's fine, of course, right? We're holding some, but we are high above the 100 EMA for the most part. High above any buy area. So if we do a leg down from a 4 hour point of view, that's cool. Buy Bitcoin again at 32, 31. Fine. Buy it again. For the 4th time. Every time pays off. Anyway, okay. But I'm happy with what I closed today off of the up move for the Bitcoiner people. And I'm ready for either direction now. It could do a down for a couple of days and buy down there or whatever. Make the bank, thin it out, and then see what comes next. But again, it's mimicking, when you see that stuff, you are mimicking what they're doing. So you're likely in a good position if you follow what the 4 hour things are telling you. Maybe you ignore it and you do better than them. But for the most part, I listen. New information here to look at. Yes. So, 14 EMA. Again, talking about this situation. So nothing, our first bit of information was, besides the initial buyers, which was expected, nothing really consistent down here as far as accumulation. No reason that we'd want to be buying in a downtrend or buying off the support. And then now, this is our first test for sellers. So, like I said, volume down here is going to represent buyers. Volume starting from this point, very accurate with the 14 EMA. Think of it as volume is going to represent sell activity. If we go to the 1 minute, because about price areas, not time frames, we're in this price area where we're testing. So let's just go there and see. Do we get maybe a huge, in this sort of environment, for example, we get a big spike in volume here, and then you go for it, right? Goes for the low. Weakness comes in on that test. Again, another extreme would be volume gets really low here, and you float on up. So I was saying, okay, sellers are not active here, which would be good. We want them to be higher, right? We don't want to sell into that support anyway, ideally, and so on. So we will get the information now from there. And what happens on these tests for sellers? Tests, right? The buyers pause their activity. Those that are really accumulating and doing some good low buying, they pause and they see, okay, market, what are you going to do? Sellers, what are you going to do? This is our first spot to find out. Looks like the sellers might be jumping on a little bit. Volume's still on the low side. Let's see. All right, so that candle closed. It spent most of that, or at least 3 or 4 minutes out of that 5-minute candle up here. Moderate selling, right? We didn't drop off on volume and say, wow, there's very little selling. We're likely going to see it. And we didn't see any spike in activity that tells us, okay, supply showed up on the very first test. Against that, demand is probably just going to go, right? We didn't get sort of moderate, right? This is just facts about what's going on. So many things you could find out from a chart. Here, 14 EMA test. We'll see what happens. Pound. That blew through the 14 EMA. And now, some volume did drop off up in here. A mix. I don't know about messing with the pound today. It would have to be really clean. I suppose an hour or two after news, but that would have to be a clean background off of the news volume. Aren't you glad you didn't chase the pound? I'm glad I didn't chase the pound, because I don't chase. So going back to the very first, most straightforward trade of the day. Pound news aside, so it has a bit of risk because of that, especially as it's getting closer and closer. But textbook situation besides it, and looking for the up move and weakness today to get in short. So, what happened to FOMO? Everybody's happy now. It's coming back. Euro? Well, test for sellers here. Want some low volume. Want lack of sellers. Let's get higher so we can sell up there properly. Let's go. Let's go up for the next 30 minutes to an hour. Unless things want to fly up, but normally. And get to these spots to sell. What time is it? Oh, I almost did 2 hours already. All right, so we're on our way back up and looking for weakness. Moderate strength off the low. Again, I don't mind that it's there. It helps us get up there, right? You need some demand, some buying to get your up move during a downtrend. Didn't look like accumulation. It's nothing huge. 1 hour point of view is just nothing. You would not want to be going long off of anything like that in the downtrend. So we're good. Simple. Back to the simple first thing I pointed out. Selling on up moves during a downtrend. Okay. Looking good. I want to know who wussed out in the crypto markets today and took all that profit. Come on. It was a collective wuss out today. Not Ethereum. Not Ethereum. You can't be mad at Ethereum. Good job. But Bitcoin there? You're going to wuss out there? It's actually not that much volume. It's really not. I just want to blow through these levels. Come on. Link with its fake breakout. You wussed out. It's like some started taking profit, then some more. We're doing this? Everybody started taking profit. I'm sure that's how it went down. Because initially when some of these cryptos hit their highs and close to their highs from earlier, it was really fine. Somebody started selling. Oh, we're doing this today? Oh, we're getting out? Oh. I freaking jumped on shit. Okay, I'll sell some. I swear that's how it happened. Rather than, here's the spot we want to start selling. It was not that initially, Oh, bunch of wusses. You sent me an email about not chasing trends yesterday. Did you? Oh. I'm trying to remember. I got a few emails jumbled up in my mind right now. Hold on. But what about it? You're just saying. All right, good. My email's a mess. There's so much crap in there. Just saying, okay. Yeah, for people that emailed me and didn't get a response, I respond to most emails. Most. Sometimes it just gets overwhelming. I'm like, But I usually do. No, but the thing is, it's not even that. I don't get that many. It's just that sometimes I really want, and I know it's people that attend these live sessions where they may mention that they do, and I'd rather answer questions by speaking than in an email. I can cover so much more just by talking. So any questions you have that you emailed me and didn't get a response, you can ask me now. Just saying, right? Okay. Yeah, no, I'm just saying generally because it made me think of that. Gold, euro, go up. Oh, this will be nice. This will be nice. See, what happens is everyone chasing the move today, right? We're going to move up. Like, if this happens, it's a regular occurrence. So you look to your left. So the chasing the down moves. You know what I'm going to say. And you can actually get, where would you put your stop loss if you just jumped into a short in the last 20 minutes, 30 minutes? Jumping into a short, where would you put your stop loss? That plays into where we're going to go in the retracement to get those stop losses. Now we're also attracting people to be buying because we're going to be bouncing here. Your stochastics, your RSI is going to do the thing. Oh, we're buying now. You may get up a few pips and then suddenly you're in the middle of a downtrend and weakness hits. And if you're buying, where's your stop? Right under the low of the day so far, right? That's where your stop is. If you're buying, it's down here. So that gives us a destination for the short to kick those people out. They can end up with a fake break and you end the day, right? Yes, happens all the time. Don't hate the player, hate the game, right? What's the basis of your strong bullishness for crypto in the long term? Possibly a technical or a fundamental? Both. But if it was just technical, that would be fine. Fundamental is a nice thing, but fundamentally, you have PayPal offering a few cryptos now to people. It's becoming more and more and more mainstream. Even if the thing never works out, we probably have a few years of this up business, So fundamentally, yeah. But technically, you can see that that's a reality too. Of course, that has to be there, right? Technically, you could see how much they love those lower prices. There's no fear, man. They go all in. Even in March, when things melted down, where did a lot of money go? Because when things melt down, it's your chance to move things around and start positioning on what you think is going to be moving up better than the others. Talking about March, And a lot of money went into cryptos. Now I'm like, that's it. This thing is, we got years of this stuff. Even if it never works out, it's still the Wild West. The gold rush, whatever you want to call it. If you're familiar with American history. But of course, technical is there. The fundamental is there too. That's good. But technical is good enough. Elon Musk is starting to buy a frenzy of Doge in Twitter right now, basically telling everyone to buy. Okay. Yeah, this is a thing. And I used to wonder why it didn't go on. And it's the dam has been broken. Social media trading consensus building on social media. Social media influence on trading. That's a new thing altogether. I mean, it's at another level now where the future of trading is going to be at the mercy of social media stuff, these things that people are doing. It's a really new element that I think never existed in markets, right? And that's why you have something like GameStop go on. It has nothing to do with reality, but there's enough people involved and it makes it real as far as the stock. Aren't these Bitcoin high looking suspiciously like those of August 20? Multiple higher prices on low volume. Well, multiple higher prices on low volume is good, is bullish. Right, that's what you're saying. Yeah, go read. Yeah, Wall Street Bets on Reddit. I know. I'm not even going there. It's way too outside of my bubble to even. Everybody can have fun with that. I don't know. Way too outside of my bubble to get into anything like that. Maybe one day for a hobby, but I'm not doing the Wall Street Bets thing. I like my bubble. I like my little universe I created. I don't know anything. I just know charts. Meditate. Most of the people jumping on these social media hypes end up holding the bag. Yeah, that's another thing. Fortunes will be made and lost. It's going to get out of control. I mean, what do you got? Some influential people leading a bunch of sheep? Yeah, what could go wrong? When you say it that, God, I heard myself say it. I'm like, okay, they're doomed, actually, is what's going on. And you think that these guys aren't going to get some retribution? You think they're not being watched now? You think there's not 100 times, a million times more money going to be thrown right back at them if they keep doing this? They're not going to win. No. Oh, you want to play? Okay, so the average guy versus the big guy? Gee, how's that going to work out? It'll settle. It's going to be crazy for a little while with this stuff. It'll settle, right? But you want a war? You got a war. I mean, I don't know. Luke blew up the Death Star, so I guess anything's possible. Since Star Wars is real. Isn't it just a perfect opportunity to ask them to short? Well, yeah, it's the whole, if we're talking about, yeah, there's the short squeeze, which is they're already short. And then their losses are being drawn, pushed down to the multiple hundreds of percentages in the case of GameStop, right? Wasn't it that much? A few 100% or something? And you also have a situation where they knew what they were doing. This wasn't some random thing, by the way. Not random at all. So you get the situation, the short squeeze. What else was I going to say? Yeah, so, and then they end up, giving it back, buying it back, and then that creates an additional up move. And they're taking that loss, and the price is going even further. So that helps the little guy get even more out of it. Anyway. That's what goes on there. Look up short squeeze if you don't know what that is. And that's what they were doing to him. And they're going to strike back. They'll watch the forum and wait for their moment, most likely. That's what I would think. Empire Strikes Back. Return of the... It all comes back to Star Wars, right? Everything in life. That's it. Yeah, the manipulators versus social media manipulators. They're manipulating too. It's not all GameStop. That looks like a good buy. Yeah, sure. Call that manipulation too. I guess they're out in the open about it. They're trying to help the little guy. They have some morality. I don't know. I'm out of it. They both manipulate. Pick a side. I don't know. I guess the hedge funds are notorious for being evil. I don't freaking know. Whatever. They control government. They pull the strings. They start the wars. Whatever. All right. Too much. Can of worms. Back to my bubble, Right? All that stuff. Smart money always wins in the end. Yeah, I have to agree with that. I have to agree. Doesn't mean everyone individually that trades properly like smart money always does the exact right things all the time. There are real losses that happen during times, but of course, yes, as a whole, yeah. But it's an interesting thing to watch from afar. My wife knows more about it than me. Social media is a good way. Should I check the charts, or we're just chatting? Oh yeah. Well, looking for up moves to short. If it doesn't want to make it up there, I'm not selling down here near the low right now. I mean, there was some demand down there. It's, as I say, if I was going to sell this low, right, and that's not London open volume or anything. If I was going to sell this low, and a lot of you know this, you got to have a low volume down here, off the low. So no deal there. If you remember the last trade that I did take during the live session, it was a reverse situation, right? If you think of it as an uptrend. And we had a situation where the volume was so low, in that case, into higher prices, in this case, the lower. It was so low that I took the aggressive trade, right? So this is an example of when I wouldn't do that, of course. But again, the way the things are moving well without news, and there's no rush to get into some early move. That's not the greatest setup. You're likely going to get something at some point today. Drink. Where do we leave off? Yes, I meditate. If you want to call it that, I don't know what I do. We're not getting into that today. Oh, gosh. 1 second. 1 second. Yeah, I used to, I was one of those people who thought it was ridiculous to meditate. That's going to be boring. It's going to suck. And then, yeah, my wife was like, just do it. Listen to this guy to meditate. And yeah, it was, yeah. You kind of have to now, like with the interwebs, with the internet, and just the way everything is, just the vibe, and of course everything, and the virus and everything. How could you not just have a lone, quiet time and like, what do I really think of things? Get centered. What matters? Even just that basic thing, I would think people need. Things used to be an escape. They're just not anymore. Movies, TV shows, it was all about the escape. Now it's like just more of that crap, it feels like. All that stuff out there. You got to get away. But yeah, I made a big jump in this life. And it's not just, because I'm doing well trading, so money, and then you're happy because you don't have some job you hate or something. The successful trading is just a result of the transformation that went on. That took a long time, and it was hard. Quick look at the charts. Nothing for me to do at the moment. New low ground here. I mean, if we're going to move down, give me climactic volume that I can buy. I'm not chasing down moves. Or as I say, if it breaks out, let it break out, the strong support, and then that becomes a resistance going forward. Look for weakness going forward on the way down, right? It's likely going to go down if we break here properly without demand, but it doesn't have to be in a straight line, and you get your weakness. What else? These guys. I'm stuck up there. Not doing much. All right. I would look to buy these on a dip. What else? Got the pound news coming. It's kind of all over the place. All right. See what happens there. Where was I here? Roger. Oh, wait. I skipped. The social media is a good way to get more new people into the market. Well, that's definitely happening, yeah. Times are changing with trading. The average person is going to be trading things. It's coming. It's weird. Some people just don't still feel like they just can't do it. It's not for them. There's a lot of those people still, though. Possibly same situation when FX went retail, yeah. That was the Wild West. Back in the day, yeah. I think that was like early 2000s, 2001 or something. Or I don't know, before that. And the same game continued VSA phase, yeah. But, yeah, it's from the many to the few. And that comes down to the knowledge gap. Basically, right? Simply put. Basic stuff, but could you please explain the nuanced way of defining the zones of selling, awaiting supply and buying demand, specifically in relation to candle wicks and overshoots? Defining the zones. Okay. Yeah, it's easy. I don't always draw it 100% every time, but for example, what would be the zone right here? You know, sometimes you get big wicks. In this case, it's small, but it's there. So, for example, on a 5-minute, because I do it on basically just the 5-minute and the 1-hour chart. I'm not drawing these zones off of 15-minute closes, 30-minute closes. But if you look at the 5-minute, for example, right now, you have that zone established here off of the wicks only. So think of it as, you know, as large as you can draw it without including any bodies of the candles. So that's right there. So that gives me a level there down to the, technically just to do it clean, down to the bottom of that. So you have that whole zone, right? Now this is something I noticed through observation. It's not some sort of silly, well, let me just draw a box here. So it's really, now let's mark this here. That's the top of the box. Try to get it exact, because I'll likely have exact reactions to show you in there. And then exactly off of that. Okay, so there's exactly the box. Now this is a zone that's going to tell you about buyers more than above it. So this line separates suddenly as you cross it. You're now getting information about buyers much more than you were above it. Generally, lower price is going to tell you about buyers, but then you get a jump in information importance right in that area. And as you're moving down through that. So I can only make so much conclusion from something that happens right above it. But once you get in it, you can start to make a conclusion. If volume is low, you're likely continuing down. If volume is high, you're likely going up. And you don't have to wait till you actually get to support to get that information. Because a lot of times you don't go to support. And what happens if you're a trader looking to buy off support and you never get there? Let's say we had huge strength. Let's say we were looking to go long, right? And we had huge strength right here. It didn't actually get to support. But if we get large strength, I'm good. It's off of the zone, you know. It moves up and gives a setup, then I would look to get in. It didn't actually touch support. So it gives you that. Now if we go to the 1 minute, because it's about price areas, not time frames, and we have our price area marked, then we can see the reaction, right? So this one dipped in. For the first time after it was established, we dipped in here. Some buying showed up. It popped up. Now we dipped even lower. lack of buying, lack of activity. And again, we kind of know it's not convincing accumulation down here. It's really not. And again, we're seeing that. Which in this case, again, if we're looking to short, this is the kind of low that we want. Selling into an area that really showed lack of demand is likely to break. So that's the idea, whether it's the 5-minute that tells you, that helps you get some detailed information and helps on entries. And then from a 1 hour point of view, that's, I couldn't really get it in there, right? But normally you get larger wicks and you get an actual zone, a clear zone. Again, here, this is totally proper to do this, right? And then, again, once you cross that area, it's going to start telling you about sellers, even more so than just before it. It starts to kick up and really give you the useful information. And also as far as setups. So again, if I was looking to short, which in this case, yes. This low, no. Probably not. But we have the fib area. And again, so in these areas, this is really low and close to a low with a lot of demand. If the demand wasn't there, I would be more aggressive, as I said not too long ago. But with some buying back here is realistic, and we don't want to buy it, is selling to support large demand. Realistic, we can get up here. And again, starting from here, that's 50 fibs, 618. So if it could be just a touch of this area and a high volume rejection. And maybe the highest, volume pops up here, some good amount. And then from there, I know it's 50 fib, it's fine. And all through here is going to tell me what's going on. If we're floating up on low volume, right, there's just nothing going on. And this is kind of last chance to see weakness. Doesn't show up, right? But you get that information in there. And so there are areas where you can get setups, if not information, or setup areas, zones. Does that help? Looking at the question again. I think that answers it, right? Basically, Roger, yes. And overshoots, it just happens a lot. The reason for overshoots is there are stop losses placed there. There are breakout traders that chase. Things go down, Things happen that benefit the smart traders and hurt the dumb traders on the fake breakouts. If you look at it, you'll understand, right? Chasing moves where you set your stop loss. Think about that stuff, and you'll see that the average trader doesn't know what they're doing. Those fake breaks really hurt them. So it's a nice little maneuver for us, who know what we're doing. Sorry. How would they know much they would have to buy to cause the short squeeze? Oh yeah, back on that. I don't know. Technically, the answer to that question. But it seems like the whole thing started with somebody having information that was somewhat detailed about certain entities being short. So they had some sort of details about it that caused them to say, there's a weakness here. We can go after these guys, And I'm not sure exactly the whole scenario with the GameStop stuff, the AMC, John, no. John, yeah, that video is gold. I wish I saved more of that stuff, man. I made a whole playlist. It's all gone. It's amazing. You know what I could just do is buy all his material. I think he'll, like those videos that were taken down off YouTube, I would think are because they sell them. And that's why they didn't want them on YouTube. So maybe you could just buy them. I don't know. Roger, great to hear else about your personal stories. Cool. Well, yeah, I like to share. And I'm not like saying I know everything or I figured everything out. But Yeah, it went from really shitty to much better, and it's so at least I learned a couple of things the hard way. Thanks, that was really well explained. Okay, good. New learning: you don't have to wait for price to hit bottom support to determine fresh. Yep, got a zone. Yeah, they sell it on the website, right? Okay. Well, I can buy some videos and share. I'm sure I'm allowed to share with my friends, right? I don't need to post it on YouTube, but I can make a Dropbox folder, right? Anyway, no one else here knows what we're talking about, John. Not even gonna. I don't know if your people are ready for that. So he's a what? All right, so I'll hang out a bit longer, see what information we get. Maybe we get lucky enough to get an up move soon to short, but very possible the market is just not going to do anything great with the pound news coming up, and then afterwards you're kind of in the clear once things settle. Some buyers showed up lower on the EJ. This guy just doesn't want to give much of a result. The pound, nothing high probability right now. But it still goes back to the up move and weakness being the most textbook trade we have. Could easily get there. I just talk about all different scenarios and complain a little bit, and then on the good days we just end up getting, yeah, that was what we wanted, and it happened. We'll see. Bring it on. We're ready. All right, email me. I'll send you something. Email me. Send me the link to that thing. I'm ready for it. If you're sure you're ready. Okay. What the hell is this? Oh, my God. There are some things, the first time I heard them, like, oh, give me a break. This is some bullshit, man. Come on. And I'm like, wait a second. What? Wait. Okay, wait, this is life-changing. Oh, okay. Oh, my God. So, yeah, it's one of those things. So, yeah, emails. I want that. I'll give you. It's a long video. I don't think people are ready for it, John. Yes. Why not? All right, we got to get into one crazy topic. I think this is going to be the thing. At the end of the video, at the end of the stream, we get into some crazy shit before I go. Today's topic, the reptilians. Oh, no. Okay, but I got a story. I got a reptilian story. First of all, start with something light. Yeah. The Secret. Oh, no, not The Secret. Oh, man. You want that Ferrari? You obsess over that Ferrari. You put that picture of that Ferrari. I don't know who buys Ferraris anymore. You put a picture on a wall and you think about it all the time. You're going to get it because that's law of attraction. No, it's not. They missed the mark. That's another story. You know already, John, anyway. You know the formula. That's not the formula, John. You know the formula. Okay, you want to hear it? All right, here we go. Okay, so just to say, first time I heard about this was in 2008. Somebody actually that I knew online from trading sent me a DVD, because that's what you did back then. He mailed me a DVD. He said, check out this guy. Okay. So it was David Icke. Okay. So I have no idea what this guy's going to say. I'm not into this stuff. There's not much on YouTube with this stuff yet. YouTube was, not this back then. So David Icke. All right. So I'm listening to this guy talk about, both sides of the government are working together really for a bigger purpose, and the left and right, it's all fake and to keep you divided, and they're controlling the population and this. Okay. And you get, mechanics of how they run things, a shadow influencing the world, shadow governments and this and that, and wars. Well, okay, I could say, yeah, all right. Wow, that makes sense. Okay. And it was like for an hour. I'm like, all right, wow. It's crazy stuff, man. It sounds real. This guy's opening my mind. Okay, that's how the world. Okay, then he goes. Then the final topic he brought up. He goes, and the people that are running all this and doing all this are alien reptilians. They have scaly skin, and like, oh my god, this guy just lost me, man. Damn, right? Like, all right. But it was good until then. I don't know. I think the first part is true, and then that last reptilian stuff is kind of cuckoo. And that was my conclusion. That was it. So then, I remembered something. It took like days for me to remember this. After I saw that, I go, wait a second. My friend, Alvin, I've known since like 1998, he told me a story back in like 2001 that he had a friend, a girlfriend. He wasn't with her very long. He was trying to get with her. Long story short, she morphed into a snake reptilian face and then morphed back. I'm like, I don't know what to make of this story, man. He told me this back in 2001, before this stuff was anywhere. Nobody was talking about this. And he goes, I got to tell you something. And he was traumatized. And that's the part that gets me. When somebody's traumatized, they look like it. They have a look in their eyes like, holy shit, like, did you just die? What's wrong with you? Right? Did you almost die? Right. And so I had to believe him. He was like, dude, man. And he's like, it went like this. Her face, it came forward like a snake and then went back. It was like, whew, whew. It changed and then changed back. And it was to tell me, like, back off, like, you don't want to get with me, and it's not like that, and it's not happening. And I guess that was a pretty extreme way of doing it. Like, yeah, you don't want to mess with me or any people I know or anything. He said it was kind of like, to get him to understand. I don't know. No, he wasn't on acid or anything like that. But that's the story. And he was like, it was like a snake face, like a reptilian face. And it switched and then switched back. And he was freaked out and traumatized, and he would pass a lie detector test easily. He would, a psychiatrist could examine him. I'm telling you, the guy was traumatized, right? So then I think about that with the David Icke stuff. I'm like, okay, that's weird, right? And then you go down the rabbit hole. You go, okay, well, so there's my story. I didn't see it, but I know someone who did. If you want, he's up late. If you guys want to hear from him, he can tell you himself. This guy's not lying, and I will never forget the way he looked when he was telling me. The next day, he was all fucked up. So there's that. And then I go, wait a second. The snake, the reptile, the dragon. There's all this these scaly motherfuckers. What is this? Adam and Eve, the snake. Maybe it wasn't a literal snake. Maybe it was one of these things. And as the story goes, as I looked into that, I'm just passing on the information. these things were kicked out of somewhere else, say another place in existence, and came to our jolly old Milky Way galaxy and said, "Well, we'll just do our thing here." And that's the reality of what I'm just putting that information there. Make of it what you will. That's the reality of the snake and other religions that talk about reptilian things, and whether it's a dragon, a snake, right? Where did he meet her? I don't know. Yeah, he was around shady people. he owned a music studio. What went on there, New York City. I don't know. He may have met her literally on the street. He's that kind of guy. He'll just start talking to some girl in the street. Who knows? Yeah, I heard about that too, about how the reptilians run the media and news and stuff. Yeah, so I always go back to that, and then tying that all in, like I was saying, I'm telling you, is this crazy or is there something to it? Evil is not some, these reptilia, the snake or whatever, the dragon, right? It's not some general way in existence that bad is represented. This is a specific thing. These are motherfucking beings that took over shit. It's not, well, that's just evil. That's just evil that exists. No, it's this particular, these motherfuckers, right? That are of some lower dimension, evil ass shit. We have that version of it. It's not just something. It's particularly this group, and they are here, and they're making everything suck. And they did it, that's where everything goes wrong. That's where Adam and Eve, and probably whatever other religions have similar beginnings of the fall and the temptation, and the control now from then on of the reptile, the snake. I don't know. Doesn't that all kind of connect the dots? Am I connecting too many dots, or is that all makes sense? And if you look at the history of mankind, man, it's brutal, man. It's brutal. Are people really that bad? Or is this all manipulation? Man, it's brutal, the history of mankind. Damn, that's bad. The shit that went on. I mean, how do you get that many people to do so many bad things, right? Are people individually that bad, motivated to be that bad? Are these hybrid beings that brainwash people and by the masses to accomplish these things? Why do they do it? I don't know, it's a whole thing, right? They feed off negativity. They take our resources. I don't know. Anyway, I put the information out there. Make of it what you will. It's interesting. Yeah, I heard all that too. Representative around the media. There was a video of a news reporter blinking his third eyelid on air. I've never seen a proper video of it. I mean, if that ever happens. Is the Bashari talk about channel through? Yeah, Daryl Anka. Yes. When I say all right, I imitate him. I think he's funny when he says all right. He's really funny too, Bashar. There are some videos that are freaking hilarious. He has fun with it, Are there ones? I think somebody's running. There is, whether it's them or not, there is obviously some centralized control on planet Earth. Obviously. For the most part. You get people in multiple countries all worked up about the same thing at the same time. Like, how does that even happen? It's coordinated stuff. Yeah, no doubt. Definitely coordinated. And you would have to go to maybe some of these global organizations that act political, but they're not. Yeah. Yeah, you guys know. People are waking up. We're getting there, right? We're figuring it out. We're making a lot of progress. We're on to them, and they know it. The main thing they keep doing, right? You get once you acknowledge they exist, whether it's reptilians or just some central control, you know their tricks after a while. Oh, they want to scare you. Oh, yeah. You kind of get to know their tricks. Whatever. You're looking desperate now. Stop. They throw Hail Marys sometimes, like, damage control. Oh, shit. Quick, we got to do news telling everybody it was this. It's damage control. So sometimes they do, you see it though, right? Everybody sees this stuff. Well, we have to ask why would these entities, why are they doing it? Possible answer, they feed off our energy like that thing. Yeah. I feel like the negativity, they love that. The earth in a state of fear and negativity and clash, all that stuff. Seems like they really like that. Things will go on just to scare the shit out of you. That's it. They'll make up stuff and coordinate stuff with media and everything. It's just to scare the shit out of you. Yeah. And that becomes a collective thing. That becomes a thing, energy-wise, on the planet. I remember when ISIS was the big thing in the world, and chopping off heads, right? And that shit messed people up. I could feel it. And of course, coronavirus, more recently. That shit messed people up. You feel it in the collective. I don't know if you know what I mean. Sometimes it's hard to separate the collective from yourself. You go, well, why am I off today? Oh, there's this going on? Oh, it's that. All right, back to my bubble. Got everybody scared again. Stop it. All right, I'm just rambling at this point. What do I have to ask? Yeah. The myth about the lizard and St. George. I don't know that. But it is a thing, right? Even beyond Adam and Eve with the reptile. It's always a thing. I mean, in mythical stories, it's the dragon, slaying the dragon. It's also odd that dinosaurs were here before people. And I don't know. Maybe they were smarter than we think. I have no idea. Okay. You have to be blind not to see the coordination. Yeah. Control a virus, the pandemic. Right. Have you seen The Fall of the Cabal? No, but I'd like to in my lifetime. Is that a thing? Yeah. No, Fall of the Cabal. I hope. But yeah, that's the plan, right? We're supposed to trust a plan. I'm not trusting a plan. I don't know. If you have a plan, that's good. Go for it. I'm not going to trust your plan, though. That's just not. That's cool. I hope. Some of you know what I'm talking about. Trust the plan. Okay. Not really. I don't know. I mean, if we're talking about Bashar stuff, it's a whole can of worms. But he says, and Jonathan, you're going to maybe recognize this if you've heard this. He says that you're really could have any outcome, especially at certain points, like I feel like we had just recently in the last 6 months, of multiple outcomes, multiple experiences that are possible based on where you're going on your individual timeline and what you attract to happen. And I feel like there are big splits. I feel like in 2016 there was a big split in the collective experience, and then you had another one in 2020. Like the whole second half of it was like everybody like facing, and like, what are we doing? What am I doing? What is my future moment? A lot of people had that. And in 2021 begins the new path for a lot of people that is going to affect what's going to happen the rest of their life. That's how important 2020 was. And what people do now. I feel like you're getting on your timeline, your path. I'm rambling. So maybe not everybody's going to experience everything the same in the future. That's what I think. It's about how the Rothschild control media and the central banks in the hill, right? Yeah, I've seen that stuff, yeah. Maybe not that one in particular, but yeah, I've seen those, yeah. I had that whole, period, 2012, starting from there, I think, of, oh shit, this is really what's going on in the world. That's crazy. And it was depressing, actually, at first. And Alex Jones, prison planet. You live in a prison planet. Shit, this sucks. So it was depressing at first. But then I realized it's not really about what's going on out there. That's not going to define anything for me. After that. I'm not going to be miserable because somebody's president for 4 years or 8 years that I don't like. Oh, no. This country sucks. My life sucks. I was gonna do things in my life, but then the whole Trump thing happened. Oh, shut up. You know what I'm saying? Okay, that's out there. That's fine. And now at this point, podcast, yeah. We got to do something while we wait for volume to show up. And I got this guy texting me. He wants to... Hold on a second. It's a podcast. Okay, let me tell this guy 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Okay. All right, we'll do 10 more minutes. Before I go, we'll look at the charts and see. Where did I leave off? Now I'm at the point where, yeah, that whole stuff was depressing in the beginning, all that. And then realizing the outside world is not going to define me. If anything, I can even affect that stuff. All right, but that's another level. Affect what I experience anyway in the end. But, and now, what was I going to say? Okay, so now what? Yeah, I try to do something positive. Karma, that stuff. Give myself some karma credits. Like, what's left now at this point? I figured out how the Matrix works. I'm good. I'm not miserable, depressed, or insomnia, or all the stuff that I used to have. I can't believe I did this in one life. Like, I'm good. A lot of people do it. You see it, You see people that are drug addicts and they're in crime and gangs and everything. And then they spend the second half of their life helping people. Like, that's a huge jump in one life to go from that to the other. You know how much that person learned in one lifetime? That's crazy. But that's where you kind of end up once you get your shit together. You go, okay, so what's the purpose here? I mean, I just saw, and you may have seen this video going around of these kids. They look like they're 5 years old that were trapped in some kind of thing. They were maybe starving or what, and the people rescued them. And there's a lot of child trafficking going on, stuff like that. That's dangerous to get into because they don't play around. But, like, what are we going to do about this? There's a lot of trafficking, human trafficking going on. The media doesn't want to talk about it. You know the deal. You guys know this. Everyone's finding out about this. Epstein, tip of the iceberg. It's crazy. So you're like, okay, that's something to do something about. Like, how, though? You take on these people, you end up like certain celebrities that tried to take it on. The singer of Linkin Park and who was the other guy? Why am I drawing a blank? Chris Cornell. Did you know Chris Cornell and Chester, what's his face? Those two guys that suddenly committed suicide. Did you know they were doing started a whole foundation, whatever, to fight this stuff? Like trafficking pedos and all that shit. So that's what happens to you, you know? Crazy. Anyway, okay, it's dark. Sorry. But you want to do something good. That's kind of blaring, you know? I don't know. What are you going to do about these things? You vote for people who say they're going to do something about it? I don't like, what are you going to do? It's crazy. Governments are complicit in this whole thing. The trafficking. It's not just drugs in South America. It's people. Anyway. But you do what you can, I guess, at that point. When you kind of settle into life and you're good and you kind of understand the mechanics. So that's where I'm at. That's why I'm doing this. I started off joking, but trade evangelist. Right? Eventually just stop charging for anything. How's that? Competition, right? Imagine these big guys. I don't know. What's this guy's name? Sykes? Sykes. What does he charge? What's his first name? The penny stock guy. Was it $10,000 for the course or something? Personal trade? What if I just do it for free? I'm a trade evangelist. Right? I think that's something, at least for the moment. Trade and get paid channel. Biggest joke I've seen on YouTube. Is that Sykes? Timothy Sykes, right? Now, I don't know if I'm not talking shit about him, but I would imagine he charges a lot. These people charge a lot, and that's fine if it works. But what if I don't charge anything? That's my contribution. And right now, it seems like the average person wants to get into trading. It's becoming a thing. Kinetic Trading Group, welcome back. I'm just finishing up. I told this guy 10 minutes, so I got to go. He's waiting for me. All right, so we get into the crazy stuff at the end. Is that how it works? It becomes a podcast for the last half hour. Okay. Anyway, so to finish off, Mr. Dean, all is well. All right, so to finish off, whatever I could tell you. So nothing's changed. Looking to shorten the downtrend. Retracement. We got a fib. If it goes lower, you got to update your fibs. You got break test. So I'm looking for, if any lower prices continue to see lack of any large strength. Little 5-minute spikes are okay. And then looking to shorten the retracement. So that's the most straightforward thing. Again here. Again here. Right, we're seeing, look at this decreasing volume into these lower prices. This is not climactic reversal stuff, right? It's the opposite. When high volume appears, you really start to see some big stuff. That's going to tell you what the big money's doing, but they're not buying, right? So we want to stay short. And again, hopefully, well, you don't even need the high volume if you're going with the trend. So hopefully just an up move that's going to give us a proper weakness on a 5-minute and look to short. Proper setup. So fibs, support to resistance, those levels. Of course, the big pound news today. So it's riskier to trade the pound. It's riskier to have a trade at all. When that stuff comes out, things could go nuts. So just know that. Check your local time for that. It's in a few hours. Interest rate for the pound. Again, Australian dollar is so strong that I really would only want to buy it unless I saw some very high volume weakness. So that's a different story here. And I would look to buy on a down move and strength. I'm sure some smaller fibs are going to come into play here. Well, that worked out once, and that's a... So there's that stuff. There's a good swing point there. And then we're in the fib. So that's a possibility. In that case, and here's our London open volume, and besides that, we're just kind of dropping off, right? So in this case, if we're coming down and we see strength, we're likely going right back up. So strength here, and of course lack of supply to confirm entry. It's not bad at all there. The only thing is the mismatch that the Australian dollar is strong, but the US dollar isn't very weak. But a clean setup goes a long way if the 5 minute is very clean, right? So that's a possibility. Since the Australian dollar is so strong today, by the dip on strength. All right. Oh, thank you. A good day to you on this day of your time. All right, so finish up. Are you going to do New York sessions? No, I'm kind of all over the place. Sorry about that. I haven't been consistent, but I'm at least going to email you guys before I do a live stream. Yeah, I'm just taking it as it comes. Sorry. It is what it is, right? That's cool. Okay. What else? How old am I? Okay. Guess before I go. I want you to guess how old I am. That'll be interesting to see. I won't be offended if you're way off, by the way. I answered your question with a question, yes. Watch, he's going to nail it. He's going to nail it. Oh my gosh, I knew you were going to say that. In 2 months. Yes, in 2 months. Oh, John typed that. Oh, that was a guess, though. Yeah. Warren is correct. Warren, you are the winner. John, in 2 months. Good job, Warren. Ding, 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 ding. Dennis. All right, guys. So hopefully that was the last part was entertaining. We got a podcast at the end, and of course, filling up the channel with more, the YouTube channel with more good information to learn from. So very good. Okay, guys, I might be here Tuesday. Again, the thing you can count on is I send out the email to let you know that I'll be streaming. I don't just stream without sending the email. So if you're on the list and you've been getting the emails, you will get the emails. Okay, cool. Very welcome. It's been fun. 23, yeah. I'm glad I'm not 23 anymore. Okay. Cool, guys. That was fun. All right, see you soon.